Imagine a small town in 19th century America. There were no smartphones, no internet, no modern conveniences. Families worked from sunrise to sunset, children walked to school, neighbors depended on each other, and life on the prairie could change in an instant. And now, more than 40 years after the original series ended, we're going back to the prairie to discover what happened to the actors who brought these unforgettable characters to life. In this video, we are going to look back Little House on the Prairie cast then and now. So let's return to 1974, when it all began. Michael Landon, whose real name was Eugene Maurice Orowitz, was born on October 31, 1936, in Queens, New York. When Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, Landon was 37 years old. He played Charles "Pa" Ingalls, the hard-working, loving father at the center of the Ingalls family. Charles Ingalls became one of the most beloved father figures in television history. He was a farmer, husband and father who constantly worked to protect his family through poverty, illness, dangerous winters, and countless hardships. But what made the character special was that Charles wasn't portrayed as perfect. He could be stubborn, emotional, and sometimes make mistakes, but his love for his family was always at the heart of his decisions. And Michael Landon wasn't just the star of Little House on the Prairie. He was also one of the show's most important creative forces. He directed the pilot, played Charles Ingalls, and went on to write, direct, and executive produce many episodes of the series. But Landon was already a huge television star before Little House. From 1959 to 1973, he played Little Joe Cartwright on the legendary Western series Bonanza. The show ran for 14 years and turned Landon into a household name. During his time on Bonanza, he also began writing and directing episodes, skills that would become extremely important when he created his next major television chapter. Then came Little House on the Prairie in 1974. The series became a major success and ran until 1983, with Landon remaining one of its central creative figures. Through Charles Ingalls, he became known for stories about family, compassion, hardship, faith, and perseverance. Landon's personal life was complicated. He was married 3 times and became the father of 9 children. His first marriage was to Dodie Levy Fraser, followed by his marriage to Marjorie Lynn Noe. And in 1983, he married Cindy Clerico, who had worked as a makeup artist on Little House on the Prairie. Landon and Cindy had 2 children together, Jennifer and Sean. Sadly, Landon's life was cut short. In April 1991, he was diagnosed with inoperable pancreatic and liver cancer. He died on July 1, 1991, at his home in Malibu, California, at the age of 54. At the time of his death, Michael Landon's net worth has been estimated at around $40 million in today's dollars. From Little Joe Cartwright on Bonanza to Charles Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie and Jonathan Smith on Highway to Heaven, Michael Landon created some of television's most memorable family-centered characters. But his legacy goes beyond acting. Karen Grassel, whose full name is Karen Trust Grassel, was born on February 25, 1942, in Berkeley, California. When Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, Grassel was 32 years old. She played Caroline "Ma" Ingalls, the loving and strong-willed wife of Charles Ingalls and mother of the Ingalls children. Caroline was the emotional heart of the Ingalls household. While Charles worked to provide for the family, Caroline managed the home, raised the children, and stood beside her husband through some of the family's most difficult moments. She was gentle and caring, but she could also be strong and determined when her family needed her. Karen Grassel had a very different background from the pioneer woman she portrayed. She studied English and drama at the University of California, Berkeley, and later received a scholarship to study at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London. Her first major professional success came in theater, including her Broadway debut in The Gingham Dog in 1968. When she auditioned for Little House on the Prairie, Grassel reportedly impressed Michael Landon so much that he wanted her for the role of Caroline. She eventually appeared in more than 180 episodes of the series, becoming one of the most recognizable television mothers of the 1970s and early 1980s. Interestingly, Grassel continued to pursue her passion for theater even while Little House was at the height of its popularity. She also co-wrote and acted in the 1978 television movie Battered, a project that allowed her to explore difficult issues beyond the wholesome image of Ma Ingalls. Grassel's relationship with the show wasn't always easy. In later years, she spoke openly about disagreements with Michael Landon and about wanting more opportunities for Caroline as a character. She eventually left the regular series, while the story continued into Little House, A New Beginning. After Little House on the Prairie, Grassl returned largely to theater, while also appearing in television shows and films. Her later credits included The Love Boat, Murder, She Wrote, and the 1994 film Wyatt Earp. She also remained involved with theater, and later wrote her memoir, Bright Lights, Prairie Dust. Reflections on Life, Loss, and Love from Little House's Mom, which was published in 2021. Her personal life has also had its share of changes. Grassl has been married 3 times, with each marriage ending in divorce, and she has 1 son, Zach. In recent years, she has continued to maintain connections with several of her former Little House castmates. As of 2026, Karen Grassl is 84 years old and remains alive. She has continued to make occasional appearances and discuss her experiences on Little House on the Prairie. Her estimated net worth is around $500,000. So, more than 4 decades after she first appeared as Caroline Ingalls, Karen Grassl remains closely associated with one of television's most beloved mothers. Melissa Gilbert, whose full name is Melissa Ellen Gilbert, was born on May 8, 1964, in Los Angeles, California. When Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, Gilbert was just 10 years old. She played Laura Ingalls, the second oldest daughter of Charles and Caroline Ingalls, and the character who would eventually become one of the most beloved young protagonists in television history. Laura, affectionately called Half-Pint by her father, was curious, adventurous, stubborn, and full of energy. Throughout the series, viewers watched her grow from a little girl into a young woman while facing everything from school and friendship problems to family hardships, tragedy, and eventually marriage. What makes Melissa Gilbert's story even more remarkable is that she was already working as an actress before Little House on the Prairie. She began appearing in commercials and television work as a child, and when she auditioned for the role of Laura, she was reportedly one of nearly 500 girls considered for the part. Once she got the role, everything changed. From 1974 to 1983, Gilbert appeared throughout the entire run of Little House on the Prairie. She became one of the most recognizable child stars of the 1970s, working closely with Michael Landon, who became both her on-screen father and an important mentor in her career. While working on Little House, Gilbert also took on several major television projects. She portrayed Helen Keller in the 1979 television adaptation of The Miracle Worker, and played Anne Frank in the 1980 television film The Diary of Anne Frank. And her success as Laura was so significant. In 2001, she was elected president of the Screen Actors Guild, becoming one of the most prominent leaders of the Actors Union. She served 2 terms, remaining in the position until 2005. She also became an author, publishing her memoir, Prairie Tale, in 2009, followed by other books. In 2012, she competed on Dancing with the Stars, and in later years, she became involved in lifestyle and business projects. Her personal life has also attracted considerable attention. Gilbert was married to actor Bo Brinkman, with whom she has a son named Dakota. She later married actor Bruce Boxleitner, and they had a son named Michael, who was named partly in honor of Michael Landon. In 2013, she married actor Timothy Busfield. As of 2026, Melissa Gilbert is 62 years old and continues to be associated with the legacy of Little House on the Prairie. Her net worth is commonly estimated at around $500,000, although this figure is not an officially verified personal financial statement, and some sources note that published estimates may include combined household finances. From a 10-year-old girl playing Laura Ingalls to an adult actress, author, producer, and former president of the Screen Actors Guild, Melissa Gilbert's life after Little House on the Prairie became almost as interesting as Laura's story itself. Melissa Sue Anderson was born on September 26, 1962, Berkeley, California. When Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, Anderson was just 11 years old. She played Mary Ingalls, the eldest daughter of Charles and Caroline Ingalls, and Laura's older sister. Prairie was portrayed as intelligent, responsible, and mature for her age. She often acted as a role model for her younger sisters, especially Laura. But Mary's story eventually became one of the most emotional storylines in the entire series. In the 4th season, Mary lost her sight, and Anderson had to portray a young girl adjusting to blindness. To prepare for the role, she visited the Foundation for the Junior Blind to learn how someone who had recently lost their sight would adapt to everyday life. Her performance received enormous praise, and earned her a Primetime Emmy nomination for Outstanding Lead Actress in a drama series in 1978. In fact, Anderson became the only actor from Little House on the Prairie to receive a Primetime Emmy nomination for acting during the show's original run. But Melissa Sue Anderson had already started working in entertainment before becoming Mary Ingalls. As a child, she appeared in television commercials and guest roles on shows including The Brady Bunch and Shaft. A dance teacher had encouraged her parents to find an acting agent for her, and that decision eventually led her to Little House on the Prairie. While working on Little House, Anderson also appeared in several other projects. She starred in the television movie Which Mother Is Mine, for which she won a Daytime Emmy Award, and later appeared in the 1981 horror film Happy Birthday to Me. However, Mary's increasingly tragic storylines eventually became difficult for Anderson. Her character experienced a series of devastating events, including the loss of her baby and other traumatic experiences. Anderson ultimately decided to leave the regular series in 1981, with her final appearance coming in the episode A Christmas They Never Forgot. Anderson eventually chose a much quieter life away from Hollywood. In 1990, she married television writer and producer Michael Sloan. The couple had 2 children, Piper and Griffin. In 2002, the family moved to Montreal, Canada, and Anderson later became a naturalized Canadian citizen in 2007. Anderson also became an author. In 2010, she published her memoir The Way I See It, a look back at my life on Little House, giving fans a behind-the-scenes look at what it was really like to grow up on one of television's biggest shows. As of 2026, Melissa Sue Anderson is 63 years old. She has largely maintained a private life, although she occasionally participates in Little House on the Prairie reunions and fan events. Her net worth is estimated at around $1.5 million, according to publicly available celebrity finance estimates. From an 11-year-old child actress to an Emmy-nominated performer, Melissa Sue Anderson grew up in front of millions of viewers. Lindsay Greenbush, whose birth name is Rachel Lindsay Renee Bush, was born on May 25, 1970, in Los Angeles, California. When Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, she was only 4 years old. But here's the interesting part. Lindsay didn't play Carrie Ingalls alone. She shared the role with her identical twin sister, Sydney Greenbush, and the two alternated playing Carrie throughout the series. Carrie was the youngest of the original Ingalls daughters, and although she didn't receive as many major storylines as Laura or Mary, she became a familiar face to viewers. Fans may especially remember her from the famous opening credits, where Carrie runs down the Prairie Hill with her sisters. The Greenbush twins were already acting before Little House on the Prairie. In 1973, they appeared together in the television movie Sunshine, playing the role of Jill Hayden. Their performance helped lead them to the audition for Little House, where Michael Landon and producer Ed Friendly wanted twins for the role of Carrie. The twins were just toddlers when they got the part. Because child labor regulations limited how long very young children could work on a production, using twins allowed the show to keep Carrie on screen while giving each sister time away from the set. Interestingly, the sisters were officially credited as Lindsay Sydney Greenbush, which caused many viewers to believe that Carrie was played by one actress named Lindsay Sydney. In reality, it was two identical sisters sharing the same character. The twins remained on Little House on the Prairie for approximately 8 seasons, from the show's premiere in 1974 until 1982. Her personal life also took an interesting turn. Lindsay became a mother to a daughter named Caitlin. Later, she met Frank Dornan, who became her husband. She also has a fascinating connection to her Little House days. She eventually reconnected with Danny, a boy she had seen around the show's set as a child, and the two later became a couple and married in 2014. As of 2026, Lindsay Greenbush is 56 years old. Her estimated net worth is around $1 million, although publicly reported celebrity net worth figures are estimates and are not officially confirmed. So, while Lindsay Greenbush left acting relatively early, she never completely left Carrie Ingalls behind. Sydney Greenbush, whose real name is Sydney Robin Danae Bush, was born on May 25, 1970, in Hollywood, California. When Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, Sydney was only 4 years old. She played Carrie Ingalls, the youngest Ingalls daughter, alongside her identical twin sister Lindsay Greenbush. The two sisters alternated in the role throughout the series. One of the most interesting things about Sydney's role is that many viewers didn't even realize Carrie was played by two different actresses. The sisters were credited together as Lindsay Sydney Greenbush, making it look as though Carrie was played by a single child actress. Sydney and Lindsay had actually started acting before Little House on the Prairie. In 2026, she spoke publicly about her childhood on Little House on the Prairie, the challenges of growing up as a child star, and her life after acting. She now runs a wellness community called Greenbush Twins and Company, and has also written a children's book titled Seven Sisters. The Lantern of Humanity, her personal life has also had its share of changes. Sydney was previously married to Charles Carrazzillo and later to William Rocky Foster, who died in 2009. She has largely kept her private life away from the Hollywood spotlight. As of 2026, Sydney Greenbush is 56 years old and remains connected to Little House on the Prairie through fan events, reunions, and interviews. Her net worth is estimated at around $1 million. Although publicly reported celebrity net worth figures are estimates and aren't officially confirmed. So while Sydney left acting decades ago, she never completely left Carrie Ingalls behind. Alison Arngrim, whose full name is Alison Margaret Arngrim, was born on January 18, 1962 in New York City. When Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, Arngrim was just 12 years old. She played Nellie Ollison, Laura Ingalls' spoiled, arrogant, and often cruel rival. The character audiences loved to hate. Nellie was the daughter of Nels and Harriet Ollison, owners of the local general store. She was wealthy compared with many of the other children in Walnut Grove, and she often used that privilege to make Laura and the other children feel inferior. But behind the scenes, Alison Arngrim was almost the complete opposite of Nellie. At her audition, Arngrim initially read for Laura and Mary, but she quickly realized that those parts weren't right for her. When she read for Nellie, however, she transformed herself into the spoiled, dramatic character and immediately impressed the casting team. Her performance became so convincing that viewers genuinely disliked Nellie, even though Alison herself was a very different person. She later said that playing Nellie actually helped her become more confident and gave her friendships that lasted long after the show ended. Her closest friendship with Melissa Gilbert, who played Laura, continued for decades. One of the funniest behind-the-scenes details was Nellie's famous hairstyle. Those distinctive blonde curls weren't actually Alison's natural hair. They were created with a wig, which was fitted extremely tightly for filming. Arngrim remained with Little House on the Prairie for roughly 8 seasons, becoming one of the show's most recognizable young stars. Nellie's character eventually changed as she grew older, especially after meeting Percival Dalton, played by Steve Tracy. Nellie eventually married Percival and became a mother to twins before leaving Walnut Grove. After leaving Little House, Arngrim continued acting, but she gradually moved towards stage performance, comedy, and writing. She created a one-woman show called Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, which became popular internationally, and in 2010, she published her memoir of the same name. Her life after childhood stardom also became deeply connected to advocacy work. She became an outspoken activist for children's protection, and later worked with organizations, including the National Association, to Protect Children and AIDS Project Los Angeles. Her friendship with her Little House co-star Steve Tracy also influenced her AIDS activism after his diagnosis and later death. Arngrim has been married twice. Her current husband is Robert Paul Schoonover, whom she married in 1993, and amazingly, more than 5 decades after she first became Nellie Ollison, Alison Arngrim is still active in entertainment and public appearances. As of 2026, Alison Arngrim is 64 years old and continues to perform, write, and participate in Little House events. Her net worth is estimated at around $400,000, although publicly reported celebrity net worth figures are estimates and aren't officially confirmed. Jonathan Gilbert, whose full name is Jonathan J. Gilbert, was born on April 28, 1967 in Los Angeles, California. When Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, Gilbert was just 7 years old. He played Willie Ollison, the mischievous younger brother of Nellie Ollison and the son of Nels and Harriet Ollison. Young Willie was one of Walnut Grove's most troublesome children. He was constantly getting into trouble at school, playing pranks, teasing other children, and finding himself standing in the corner. As of 2026, Jonathan Gilbert is 59 years old and is known primarily for his life away from acting. Unlike most of the other major Little House stars, he has chosen to keep his personal life extremely private. His net worth is estimated at around $100,000, although publicly available estimates are unreliable, and there is no official figure confirming his personal wealth.